Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we'll be talking about my favorite movies of 2024. There were so many new movies that I saw this year since I basically lived at the movie theaters. So without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm here to share my favorites, and before we get into that list, I do want to mention some honorable mentions that didn't make the list, but I still think they deserve some mention because they were good, just not my favorite. My honorable mentions for 2024 are Monkey Man, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Deadpool and Wolverine, A Quiet Place Day 1, Smile 2, A Complete Unknown, and Furiosa. May Thy Knife Chip and Shatter. Dune Part 2 is an amazing follow-up that further immerses us in this science fiction world. The source material is complicated, to say the least, and with this sequel, Dune not only gives us a great film, but is able to make this very complicated story easy to understand. The cast is stacked, to say the least, and is great across the board. The score is amazing, and the cinematography is just so beautiful. There's so much to love about this movie, and it has gone down as one of my favorite sci-fi movies ever. If you haven't seen the Dune movies, please watch, like right now. Just stop this, drop everything, go watch Dune Part 2 and Dune 1. You might as well just watch both of them. I remember going into Civil War not knowing anything about the film and being absolutely shocked when the car blew up at the beginning of the movie, which really set the tone. I've heard mixed things about this movie, and the one common complaint is that people thought it was going to be an actual Civil War movie, like From the Eyes of the Soldiers, I guess, which it isn't, nor was it marketed that way. The movie follows photographers documenting a mission to find the President of the United States. I thought it was really interesting to see the war from the perspective of someone not fighting on the front lines, but being very close to them. Kirsten Dunst, Wagner Moura, Stephen McKinley Henderson, and Kaylee Spaney give great performances, but one small unsettling one was by Jesse Plemons. The movie showed how you have to pay attention to what's going on in your surroundings, how some people are in this war and don't want to kill, but it's killed or be killed, and how much is lost on both sides from the war, from people to the environment. One thing I loved about this movie is how they didn't distinguish the sides. So the film kind of sees war generally as bad, not one that has two sides. Who knew a movie about some tennis players would become one of my favorite movies of the year? Challenger shows the relationship between Tashi, Art, and Patrick, which is tense to say the least, and how all the years of drama between them come to a head at a tennis match. Zendaya, Josh O'Connor, and Mike Fleiss had me so invested in who Tashi would end up with, who would win the tennis match, and whether Art and Patrick would ever reconcile, to say the least. Luca Guadagnino had me on the edge of my seat with this one. And besides the acting, the movie is filmed with some great camera shots as well as an amazing soundtrack. I love this movie so much I even got a scene from the movie on my birthday cake. Alien Romulus is how you pave your own way forward while also paying homage to the films that led to this one being made. The film takes place in between Alien and Aliens and shows how a group of friends working for the infamous Weyland-Yutani Corporation tries to go onto a spaceship to get deep sleep pods so they can travel to a better planet, but encounter something way scarier when they uncover xenomorphs, a swarm of facehuggers, and some new hybrid that is the stuff of nightmares. The film introduces us to a new heroine that mirrors Ripley by the name of Rain, who fights her way through this mess with her friends, who unfortunately don't all make it. But luckily, she has a loyal android with her. The movie brings back the horror vibes that were so prevalent in the original, using practical effects to really drive it home, while also having some cool action scenes like the second film. The cast is amazing, even if they don't all make it out alive, and this is another great addition to the Alien franchise that just elevates the franchise even more. Transformers has been a very hit or miss franchise, but Transformers 1 gives us a great origin story to show how two friends became mortal enemies. It's a fascinating story that shows how one spark can change someone and lead them down a path like Orion, in which he fights for good and justice, and then one's like D16, who goes down a path where he is judge, jury, and executioner and kills who he thinks deserves of it. The voice cast for this movie was fantastic, and I think the story really benefited from not having humans and not being set on Earth. I feel like it introduced this story that could have sequels because it didn't solve everything, but still left you very satisfied by the end of the film. It was just great to see how these two became mortal enemies because I truly never knew. All I really knew about them was that they had beef for years, but I never understood why. I do think prior movies hurt the release of this movie, but this one exceeded my expectations. Wicked is one of my favorite musicals, and when it was announced it would be a movie, I was nervous to say the least, but my God, was it amazing. The acting from Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, Jeff Goldblum, Michelle Yeoh, and Jonathan Bailey had me loving the movie even more and feeling an attachment to these characters. It's a fascinating story of a supposed villain and how she became known as the Wicked Witch of the West and asks this question: are people born wicked or have wickedness thrust upon them? Wicked's story is so interesting because we know of the Wizard of Oz, and Wicked is like, what if that was wrong? Because it is told from the perspective of the people in power in order to find a villain to blame for all the problems that they caused. The music is just amazing, and I love how the musical numbers not only push the story forward, but also do a lot of foreshadowing if you look at the lyrics. I had high expectations for this movie, and they exceeded all of them. I just cannot wait for the second film. 2024 was a great time for movies, and there were so many to love. I'm excited that I got to share these with you, and I can't wait to see what 2025 brings. Thank you for watching my videos. As always, I would love to hear some of your favorite movies from 2024 in the comments. Please do not forget to subscribe. But besides that, everyone stay safe, have fun, and hopefully 2025 brings you all that you want. Goodbye.